Hello there, this is Chip Barkel with eXp Realty and also the Willowdale Neighborhood Community website on the Park Bench platform. Today I'm going to have a conversation with Josh Frock. Josh runs an online performance coaching and fitness related business out of Vancouver. And I'm also one of Josh's clients. So I've seen him from both sides of the coin. So I have a few questions. So welcome, first of all, welcome, Josh.
Thank you, Chip. It's great to be here. Yeah, I mean, we have so much fun working together. Yeah, it's fun. I'm so glad we get to do this interview and get to share a little more, and you get to see a little bit more of the other side of me. So
that's great. That's great. So why did you get into performance coaching?
So I guess, so first off, I graduated with a degree in biochemistry and had my eyes set on medical school. I was what I would call an overachiever, pretty determined to, this big future. I'm going to get there. My dad's a PhD. My mom owns a business. So I had a lot of those influences growing up. So actually, when I finished school, I realized I didn't really want to sit in a lab all the time. I didn't want to work behind closed doors. And basically, I thought sales would be the ultimate vehicle for me. I can make uncapped commissions. I get to work with people. It's going to be great. And so out of school, I ended up working for GlaxoSmithKline as a pharmaceutical sales rep. Things started out great. But as I progressed in my career and I went from there to software sales, I did really enjoy sales, but I found that I kept getting myself into this trap where I would work harder and harder and harder, and I was putting, all my effort into it, expecting to get somewhere. And I noticed that my energy started to really decline. I was really into fitness at the same time, really want into, I'm not going to say bodybuilding. That's probably not quite the right term, but for anyone on the outside, you could probably say bodybuilding. But I was really involved, tracking my calories like to the gram, working out 6, 7, 8, 9 times a week. And I was working this competitive sales job and just go, go, go. But I felt like my energy was just decreasing. And, I was doing well at work, promoted to management, things are going well. I can see the future with making more and more money. And on paper, it seemed like everything should be good. But, despite all these doctor visits, no one could tell me what's wrong with me or why my energy was so low. And it was really frustrating. And I started to think it was all in my head, that they're telling me, Josh, it's in your head, you're healthy, you should be good. But I just felt just like, I guess, bored with my life, but I started to feel frustrated. And anyways, so I eventually decided, after taking a personal development course that was totally unlike anything I'd ever done, I realized that what I really wanted was to own my own business, and I wanted to do something in the health space. And first, I thought that would be personal training. I thought I'd be an online personal trainer. And when I started working, I hired a business coach who changed my life. But hiring that business coach, he had me go out and actually interview people and ask busy sales professionals and entrepreneurs what they actually wanted with their health and what their goals were and what their challenges were. And it turned out that for a lot of them, it wasn't really that they needed advice on how to work out or how to eat better. For most of them, there's this big, long list of things they knew they should be doing, these things they wanted to be doing, these dreams that they had, but they weren't doing it. And as I dug in more and more and more, I saw more of myself in these people, that there's these things they want to be doing. There's their ideal reality and their actual reality. And they're really successful people on paper, making lots of money like I was, but they feel like there's something inside them. They're bored with their life. They're not excited. They don't jump out of bed in the morning, like ready to conquer the day and feel excited. So when I saw that discrepancy, my fitness business quickly started to turn into more performance coaching, helping people do what it is they really want to do and helping people uncover what it is they really want to do, those secret dreams that maybe don't make sense. I had one of my good friends, a realtor, and he's making solid 6 figures, like very, very good money. And he told me his dream is to be a scuba dive instructor in Thailand. And, he's telling me how it's never going to happen because, financially that doesn't make sense. But those are the kind of dreams I love to turn into reality. So yeah, that's why I love performance coaching. That's how I got into it.
That's great. I think that's the ultimate example when people say this job saps my energy. So that's exactly what you were describing. So
Totally, totally. Yeah.
yeah,
It was totally zapping my energy.
it's great that you're able to identify that early on, while you're still young, rather than looking back and saying, I wish I had done X, 20, 30 years from now.
Yeah, I'm really grateful, and it's definitely, yeah, it can't be brought up enough to be thankful and yeah.
That's right. So who is your favorite kind of client that you like to work with?
Yeah. So for me, my absolute favorite kind of client is someone who is humble and coachable, someone who like they like the way they're doing things, but they're open to doing things a different way. They want to learn, they want to improve. The kind of person who reads books and is constantly investing, or wants to be investing at least, in their own education, and understands that the way that we've done things so far got us to where we are, and that's great, but we're always going to be going somewhere. And someone who wants to appreciate the journey, um, people who want to take risks in their life, in the sense of, the 9 to 5 employee who just is happy as a 9 to 5 employee, wants to stay that way, probably not going to be the best fit for me. But I really, really love working with realtors, specifically because they are so invested in their personal development. And I can really see that when a realtor invests more time and energy into their own goal setting, their productivity, who they are as a person, it directly translates to more referrals, better business, happier life, and the happier life equals more success. So I've found as of late, these last little bit here, that realtors really exemplify that ideal client. I do also like working with salespeople and other entrepreneurs, but I found realtors to be really personable as well, which I like.
That's great. That's great. So I was assuming, as you were talking before, that you probably work with a lot of entrepreneurs. So that answered that question.
Yeah.
Um, so what do you particularly like about being a coach?
One of my favorite things about it is one of my core values is to lead by example. And one of my other ones is life should be fun. And with coaching, I get to live both of those hugely. And a big part of my job is my own personal development. It's trying out the things that I'm reading. It's experimenting. It's, making my relationships better, making myself more productive. And so these are all things that are super, super important to me. I love to learn. And so I get to do that. And that's what I love spending my time doing. And then I get paid for it. And then the other side is, I love seeing when people can take the trajectory of their life from here to here, and just change from a life of maybe I wish I could, or it would be nice if, to I'm going to make those things happen. And it's really mind blowing to see the transformations that people make. And I guess I just feel so grateful to be able to go on those journeys, because not only like the lessons I learn show up a certain way for me and I learn them, but when someone else learns those same things, because I don't spoon feed things to people. People do their own work and they learn, and I coach them along. And so when I see them go on that journey, I'm provided with so much learning about how people work, human behavior, what makes people happy and satisfied. And I can then take that back to my own life as well. So super, super satisfying. Feels like I can give back, but most importantly, it's so much fun. And I get to show people that life can and should be fun. And that doesn't mean easy, but it definitely should be fun.
I agree, 100%. Now, I met you through something called the 5-day morning meditation motivational challenge. So I'd like you to explain what that is all about. And I'm curious as to how it got started.
Yeah, totally. Start with what it is. So the 5-day morning motivation challenge is a place. It's a group that we've created, and we get together and we wake up early in the morning, 5 a.m. if you're on the West Coast, 8 a.m. if you're on the East Coast, and we do some breath work, we meditate, and we get really clear on what we call our future self. And I didn't make up the future self. This has been around for a while, but I learned it from Dr. Ben Hardy, one of my mentors. And basically what we're doing is we are taking time in our day for us, taking time to figure out what is really important to us. How do we want our day, our week, our month to actually go? And so often working with clients, and I see this in everyday life as well, people are chasing this success, but they haven't even defined what success means for them. What does a good day actually look like? And a lot of times people are doing a lot of the things that define a successful day and they don't even realize it. And so they're living kind of this like unaccomplished, miserable life. Maybe that's a bit dramatic. In some cases, it really is that way though. And on paper, they're actually doing a lot of the things that they want to be doing. And on the flip side, it's a place where you can really like take impossible things. Like we get people coming into the 5-day challenge saying, I want to be more confident, or I want to be more likable, more personal, or I want to be more mindful. And like could be a super overwhelming challenge to take on. Like, how do you change? I want to be more positive. How do you change that?
Yeah.
But in the 5-day challenge, we start with really eliminating those barriers of like reason and logic, creating a vision. And then we start to incorporate back in the reason, the logic, and the planning so that we can give people the tools to create that plan to get to that really difficult to imagine goal, like being more positive, being more mindful, or maybe it's creating a 7-figure salary. So really it's a place to measure what kind of person you are and what kind of person you really want to be. And the goal of this is to create excitement and motivation that's intrinsic. Motivation that you don't have to force yourself to get up in the morning. You don't have to force yourself to go to work. They just make sense because they're connected to a bigger why. So I hope that explains your question. I kind of just got a bit emotional talking about it, but it's really, really important to me. Did that answer the question?
It did actually, and it put me in mind of an exercise I did about 25 years ago. And I was in a challenge of sorts and was asked to write down 10 things that you couldn't do. And couldn't was your own definition, why. And I made my list of 10 things I couldn't do. And, the list went into a drawer. And I think next time I was moving a couple years later, I found the list. And within 6 months of writing the list, I had done about 80% of the list, including buying a house. So that's a big thing, right? So I realized the things that we think we can't do, a lot of it's mindset. And that's a lot of what you're talking about. So that's what put me in mind of that.
Oh, it sounds like a fantastic exercise. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
One last question. Since you're a professional and you do this as your business, is there a big pro tip or challenge that people often come to you with, over and over, realtors, other business people, in their quest to be more successful and live a more balanced life?
Yeah. And there's so many so many things that come up here, but what I see more often than not though, is people really trying to, kind of like I touched on a bit earlier, is people trying to get somewhere. And a lot of times people even know that they shouldn't be trying to get somewhere, that they should be enjoying the process. But I see this especially with my typical clients who are overachievers. They're ambitious, they're highly motivated, they set really high standards for themselves. And what I see so often is they really are, they use their daily accomplishments to measure and test their willpower and their motivation. I call these people black knights, and I am inherently a black knight, but the kind of people who sort of no pain, no gain, like they're going to set really big daily and weekly accomplishments that need to be done for them to feel satisfied. And they spend so much of their time unsatisfied and unaccomplished. And the pro tip that I would give, a little explanation of that, is our brain seeks to, it seeks more of what it already has. And so if you focus on what's going really well, if you focus on the things in your life that are amazing, the things that you're really happy, you're proud of, and grateful for, you train your brain to remember those and focus on how to get more of those. And automatically you will start bringing more of those things as you notice that, oh wait, actually, like I was pretty positive today. And then you start to attract more positive people in your life because you're thinking more positively about these things and it snowballs. Our brains are designed to encode information using emotions. A lot of people in social media talk about dopamine. It's a neurotransmitter that is part of our brain learning system, and it really potentiates learning, which means it really accelerates the way we learn, and it's based on emotion. And so, and I'm going to a practical tip with this, but basically on the flip side, what a lot of people do is they focus on avoidance. They focus on things that scare them, things they don't want, outcomes they don't want it to happen. And from an evolutionary standpoint, it was really useful many thousands of years ago that if you saw, a saber-toothed tiger, your memory switches on really aggressively. Oh my God, where is this tiger? How did I get here? How can I never come here again? That's what a tiger looks like. All these things to protect you. But in today, that becomes a challenge because we get so focused on where the tiger could be lurking. We end up trying to avoid all these things. It's like we're walking on eggshells, when if you can flip your brain into that positive mindset and turn on the dopamine for what you should be seeking, then you now put yourself in the driver's seat, because you can actually go get those things as opposed to sitting and waiting and hoping those things don't come your way, those negative things. So one practical pro tip, and this is something I've got to give a shout out to Dr. BJ Fogg, who is arguably one of the world's best human behavioral scientists, is to celebrate more often. For all those ambitious people with those really high bars, right? And it's, it's never enough for those people. I know, because I've been one. If you can on the daily try to instead see how many times can you actually celebrate your day? How many good things can you actually find in your day? Because momentum, psychological momentum, is a huge part of what I do. And when you can start putting yourself in a positive mental headspace, right? And this could be as simple as reflecting on like 3 good things that have happened to you in the last 24 hours, or 3 good things you've done, 3 accomplishments from the last week that can get the ball rolling. But when you switch that on, you celebrate them, you're turning that dopamine system into a learning superpower. And so that's a quick exercise you can do. Take 30 seconds and write down a few of the accomplishments you've had in the last 24 hours. But in general, thinking more about what have I actually done that's been good today, and how can I do more of that, as opposed to what didn't go the way I wanted to, and using that to negatively affect your emotions.
Mm-hmm. That makes a lot of sense. So focus on the positive and don't let the negative kind of drag you down. So that actually, it's very simple, very logical, but so many of us get caught in that trap. So
simple, definitely. Simple is king. There's nothing too complicated about what I do, that's for sure.
That's great. That's great. Well, I really appreciate this time with you today, Josh. Again, I will post your contact information with our conversation, but it's really great to hear about your performance coaching business, and maybe some people will reach out to you if they're interested. So Chip Barkel with eXp Realty, your Willowdale neighborhood realtor.
Yeah, actually, if I could just add one thing, just for anyone watching this who's interested in morning routines, in journaling, in how to create a more positive life that translates into more success, like creating a balanced life that helps them more successful. Like, I love this stuff. And so even if it's someone who's maybe not looking for a coach, but just has some questions about that stuff, they're trying a morning routine, or they've heard about morning routines, or they kind of want to try journaling, or they're curious what a more positive life could look like. I will never get tired of people genuinely reaching out with good questions, questions that are important to them, that they want to ask. So I just want to open that door, that for anyone who just has a question to ask, I love answering this stuff. So please feel free to reach out.
That's great. Well, thank you very much for your time today, Josh, and look forward to hearing more about your business going forward.
Amazing. Thanks, Chip.
Thank you.